Wow.
I'm just gonna get
That's
it to
right.
you and I'll
Double A
tell you.
operator.
Double A.
Let me start it with Rick.
And who'd have
He's
thought
a
a small
triple A
town
with
like,
me.
I'll start that with you and then I'll tell you
small
why.
town like Abilene?
Sorry, too much going on.
Little hot. New microphones. Oh, dang.
Little hot, little hot. Check, check. Sibilance,
Well,
sibilance.
I'm loud anyway.
Thank you, thank you.
All
We are
right. The time is 6 p.m.
Oh.
This meeting of the Fern Bluff Municipal Utility District Board of Directors has come to order. We've now convened. Roll call of directors. All directors, including our new director, Director Horton.
Richard Horton,
Are,
the director at large, I guess, at the moment.
that's right. So all directors are present. Let's see. Director Barnes, would you like to say the Pledge of Allegiance for us this evening?
Sure. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Director Barnes. Item number 4 on the agenda is citizens communications. Just want to remind everyone the rules. Please speak your mind for 2 minutes. Talk to us. It's not interactive, so we won't be asking questions or interacting, but this is our chance to hear you, and we want to give you a full opportunity to do that. So having said that, Mr. Lonnie Robinson, please take the microphone, and we'd love to hear from you this evening. Thank you.
Okay. My name is Lonnie Robinson. I live at 17814 Park Valley Drive. I lived in this neighborhood for almost 30 years now. And I read tonight's agenda and saw that the status of deed restriction litigation was to be discussed. This would be a great opportunity for the board to address some of my questions that I've emailed the board over the last 2 years. Most Fern Bluff residents probably do not know that a $100,000 lawsuit for monetary relief has been filed against one of our neighbors in the Fern Bluff neighborhood. It is for a violation of an expanded list of definitions. The whole fiasco by the board and its employees is over car coverage. So the questions go, what is the rational, well-founded justification, good faith argument, and reasonable judgment that can explain the need to include car covers in the Fern Bluff deed restrictions? This has occurred while car covers are not a violation in Stone Canyon or Oak Brook. The last time I asked staff about this, about why, the answer was because we can. The district is charged with enforcing deed restrictions, but it's necessary to sustain taxable property values. No evidence has ever been presented that car covers have increased the value of investments by the district homeowners. What is an example where well-maintained car covers lower taxable property values? How can the board claim reparations are due when the subject property has increased in value equal to or faster than the average appraised property in the MUD? How was the $100,000 value determined? And by who? Why is board member Stemco allowed to continue to violate the Stone Canyon deed restrictions with a tarp-covered motorcycle in a driveway while sitting on the Fern Bluff ACC and issuing violations to my neighbors? It is visible from the street, it is covered up with a tarp, and clear violations of her neighborhood's deed restrictions. Anyone needs to read it, right here. Will the board remove Jessica Stemco from Fern Bluff ACC? Board member lives in Stone Canyon. Board member suspected that lie that car covers have always been on the unsightly list. She doesn't represent me. I look forward to your discussion. As a reminder, car covers have not always been on the list. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. All right, any other folks to speak this evening? All right, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, consent agenda. Ms. General Manager, do we have anything to remove from the consent agenda?
We do. We have some corrections to the meeting minutes. I sent y'all a initial copy of the draft minutes and then some changes and additions. The February 13th, 4 paragraphs from the bottom. Last sentence, it was not Hector Alanis that was speaking, it was Director Sabatino. That's the only change on the June 13th. On June 27th, first page, executive session started at 6:46 p.m. We reconvened in open session at 7:11 p.m. Director Barnes moved to appoint Director Horton to fill the vacancy. Director Stemko seconded it. And then the last paragraph regarding reconstituting the board officers, that did not occur. The board voted to move reconstitution to a future meeting. That's the only changes on those minutes.
Okay.
So if y'all are okay with those, you can vote to accept them.
All right. So with those changes to the consent agenda, including what Ms. General Manager just said, do I have a motion to approve the remainder of the items of the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Director Smith,
Second.
second by Director Stemko. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion carries 5-0.
The only other thing, since we did not have our July meeting, you've got sort of a little mini packet for the June meeting with some of the checks, financial information specifically to June. The July information is kind of the full information. The checks or the payments that we made in July, the financial statements, everything is in the larger packet that says August 8th, which is actually the previous month, which is July. So that's why y'all have those two packets.
And while I'm thinking of it, because Ms. General Manager mentioned it, she mentioned we deferred to reorganize the board and do committee assignments when Director Horton was appointed at that meeting. We're not doing that tonight either. We will be doing that in the September meeting, just so everybody knows. Okay. All right. Agenda item number 6, engage auditor services for fiscal year 2022, 2023.
Our auditor engagement letter is in the packet. It is on page 24. Don Allman is willing to do our audit for fiscal 2023 at the same price. Our audit price has not gone up in several years, but it will be for $12,000 if the board would like to re-engage Don Allman.
Okay. Do I have a motion for anyone to engage the auditor? Mr. Allman, Don Allman?
I'll make that motion.
All right. Motion by Director Barnes.
A second.
Second by Director Horton to engage the auditor Don Allman for the fiscal year 2022, 2023. Any comments? That man does a great job, and I'm glad we're auditing ourselves. That's good practice, and I hope that continues in perpetuity.
Hope we can keep him for a long time. I'll need you to sign that letter before you leave tonight, so I have a few things to
All
sign.
right. So all in favor of that motion? 5-0, motion carries. And I will sign the letter for you so we can
Perfect.
get that done. Agenda item 7, budget for fiscal year 2023. Director Barnes, would you like to speak to the draft budget that we have this evening? Would you like to do it first, or General Manager? Would you like to go first?
Before we get there, the budget that's there on the dais in front of you, the bottom line of the budget is exactly the same. I made a couple of tweaks in different accounts after we got the most recent P&L, but the numbers as a whole did not change from what we spoke about in the budget committee.
Okay.
I will point out a couple of things. If Director Barnes, you go, and then I've got a couple of things to tell you guys. Where did my sheet go?
Yeah, so the budget that you have in front of you, so one of the things as far as the budget, one of the things that we are recommending is that we lowered the tax rate from 0.21 per $100 evaluation to 0.20 per $100 evaluation. And with doing that, and still with a very conservative tax rate or conservative budget, even though that there are several things that the general manager and operations have asked that we approve or over the course of this next fiscal year approve. The budget is, the budget is solid. The budget, like I said, it's very conservative. It takes into account about a 5% rate of inflation as far as costs and things like that. Also including Janie, correct, are we doing a 5% increase for employees?
That's what y'all
Is it
discussed.
5
Y'all
or is
can-
it,
It's 5.
is it
That's
5?
what's
Okay.
worked into the budget.
I couldn't remember if it was 5 or if it was something else. Once again, just kind of keep intact with the inflation rate and make sure that they can actually afford to work here and still live. So there are a couple of things. Janie, why don't you go ahead, tell us a little bit more about the water bill and some of the other things that you were going to point out.
Sounds good. As y'all can see on your calculator, our appraised values are $913,838,006. Last year, once all the numbers were finalized at the end of the year, it was, let's just say, 887,000. So that is an approximately 3% increase in district value. So that points to the fact that home values are flattening. Some homes in the district did get the 10% increase that we've seen over and over the last few years. Some homes in the district, actually, the price was adjusted down. So we didn't have that 10% increase across the board that we've seen the last few years. It's only, it's 2.93%. So home values are flattening, obviously. In our packet, we have the Second Amendment to our solid waste contract with Central Texas Refuse. Our recommendation is that our garbage and recycle rate to our residents increase to $23 from $21.90. And then, as y'all know, the city of Round Rock does a 3-year comprehensive, rate study. And last year, inflation was so bad, the board chose to not pass on that increase that we received, the district received from the city of Round Rock. We did not pass it on to our residents. We have to play catch up now, because my expectation is, with inflation, with what's going on, when they complete this next rate study, rates from the city of Round Rock for our wholesale costs are going to increase dramatically. So our recommendation is that we increase our bait rate from $17.25 to $20. Our volumetric rate, we only have 2 tiers. Those can stay the same. And then increase the sewer base rate from $6.25 to $6.75 and keep that volumetric the same. So yes, there are increases, but they're small. But I'd like to point out on your budget that I delivered to you, just after the calculation page on the front, we did a cost analysis for nearby entities to see how we sort of match up rate-wise to other cities and MUDs around us. And let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 entities were looked at, and we are the second lowest. And we will probably stay very much the second lowest. I don't have, obviously, everybody else is setting their budgets right now. But we are only higher than the city of Round Rock. City of Cedar
Do we-
Park is much higher.
Do we assume that's because of the population around the city and the cost spread across many more people than the mud?
Well, it's kind of a give and a take in the utility business that, yeah, they have a lot more people, but they also have, a lot more service to take care of. My feeling about the city of Round Rock is they've always been very conservative and fair to their residents. They want to keep Round Rock affordable. I mean, what was it? It was just in the news a couple of weeks ago. It's in the top 10 places to live as far as affordability goes. So Round Rock is very proud of that, and they work very hard to keep all of their rates and their tax rates low. We benefit from that as a wholesale customer because our rates are kind of tied to their residential rates as well. So, we only have 2 tiers. Like Brushy Creek Mud has 2 tiers, and theirs is based on seasonal. In the summer, during the summertime, their volumetric is higher, and it's lower in the winter. I feel very sorry for people that live in the city of Austin. They're sorry, Zach. Sorry. I know. I'm really, really sorry. So. We never I know this board is very conservative and we never like to raise rates, but it's just an unavoidable circumstance this year. Everything is costing more. We know in our private lives, I absolutely hate going to the grocery store because I can't believe how much things cost. But we've tried to be very conservative and only increase where we needed it to be. And hopefully the offset will be the rates are going to be a little bit higher because we never want to be, underwater with our revenue and our expense, but we are lowering that tax rate a little bit too.
Do we have a numeric value of what that means, though, lowering the tax rate by 0.01?
It really depends on the home value.
Just,
For the people, I can tell you who will see the biggest benefit from that are the people, the homes in our district that actually their appraised value was lower this year than it was last year. I mean, their taxes will definitely go down, A, because their home value is lower, but B, that tax rate as well. We all know that the state of Texas is working on how they're going to do this sort of pass through to the school districts to send that money back. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the taxing world right now. But overall, my expectation is our residents here in Williamson County, they're going to see a reduction in their tax rate this year. And it could be fairly dramatic because the school tax rate is quite high.
okay.
Janie, is it safe to assume that we pay more for our water than a resident of Round Rock since we're actually buying our water from them?
Yes, we do.
So it's a logical
Absolutely.
conclusion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There isn't a dramatic difference. I mean, if you look at, let's see, Round Rock's base rate, water base rate is $16.52. Now understand that's current year. That's not proposed because they're in budgeting period right now too. Theirs will go up. I don't know by how much. And their first tier is $2.56 and ours is $3.50. And it always has to be that way because we do have expenses to run our water system and we try to pay some of those out of the water revenue. We have a very small differential between our revenue, and you can see that in the budget, between our projected revenue and our projected expense. And the board, we've just always been comfortable with that. It's not a moneymaker. Water is something that we absolutely have to have.
Do they have more tiers than we do?
Round Rock has got, yes, they have 1, 2, 3, 4 tiers.
And we have 2, right?
That's right. And as an example, our highest tier is $4 per thousand. Okay. And that's for any use 15,000 gallons a month and over. Round Rock's highest tier goes to $5.77 per thousand. This was started, what, Hector, 10, 12 years ago as cities wanted to encourage water conservation. So the more you use, the more you pay for that thousand. That's the thought process. And so that's why you see all of these different tiers. You know, we've talked about it several times. And the board, you know, y'all can do whatever you want to do. We can add tiers. We can do whatever you want to do. But, you know, there are those that have swimming pools, and there are those that, you know, really enjoy landscaping and gardening, and that's kind of how they choose to do it. And is it really fair and just to penalize them because they use more water? You know, there's two schools of thought on that. But we've always managed with just our two tiers to keep our revenue high. Now, we all know we're in water restrictions right now. I expect any day that we may go to stage 2, which is going to be 1 day a week outside irrigation. Have not heard that yet.
Well,
Haven't
I
been
think
notified.
from what I've seen signs around town. I think Round Rock is already at stage 2. Are they not?
I mean, unless it happened this afternoon.
Yeah, I think
we-
Brushy Creek Mud's posted it. They're in.
Is it Brushy Creek Mud that I'm seeing?
And
Yeah,
just
I saw
understand that
O'Connor.
those stages may mean something different depending on the entity where you are.
Right.
Our conservation plan is the exact same as Round Rock's, but Brushy's is not the same as ours. So, yeah. So we may go into stage 1. I mean, this is a unique year in the amount of heat and the amount of dryness that we've had. But like last year, actually the last several years, we've had no water restrictions for a number of years. That's exactly right. So that's kind of the budget. I'm trying to think what else we have. Comparison. The sheriff's patrols that we pay for, we were notified that the vehicle expense, what's the hourly charge we use for the deputies on our contract to drive the county vehicle, that expense is going from $8 per hour to $13 per hour. And that's due to increases in insurance, increases in gasoline, which I had to raise our insurance cost in our budget too, because they're definitely going up. So that's the sheriff vehicle expense. And then of course we have our expense increases from our landscaping, you know, trash, all of those.
When do we have to redo our security contract with the Wilco deputies? Because
We don't, basically our contract runs until one of the others.
okay, it's just a matter of setting the pay rate.
That's right. But with this increase, they're going to, well, as a matter of fact, did I give you guys a copy of it? I mean, I literally just got this. We'll want to renew it and start the term over. Well, we won't want to. We'll have to start the term over because the vehicle cost is changing.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
the deputies will stay at the same hourly rate. I have not heard anything that they're asking to increase their hourly rate.
I would not be surprised if that comes at some point.
And it may.
I hear we're less competitive than other districts.
Our district is less competitive.
Others are paying more, so.
We did that big jump a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just put that on your mental radar that that may be coming up.
Well, y'all can approve the draft budget. Hopefully, if they're going to do that, they're going to notify us before September and we can do a budget adjustment at that point. So, yeah, I'm very happy to have our deputies. There's just been several things that have occurred just in the last 2 months that I'm like, I'm really glad they're around
Yes.
and they're visible, you know.
Agreed.
Other than that, I'm open to questions, whatever you guys have regarding the budget.
Well, maybe kind of on that note, maybe we need to go ahead and talk to, since we're trying to set out a budget for the next fiscal year, if those costs are going to go up, then it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, at least, to approve this budget by this September, and then come back and start to talk to the sheriff's deputies
Have
and
to move
say,
money around.
okay, let's renegotiate, and we're willing to pay y'all more, but then we have to go back and we have to do an addendum to the budget and say, oh, we need to fix
I'll get a
this.
hold of Travis in the next couple of weeks and see. This is just a draft. It's not
Right,
formalized or it's not set in stone until we approve it next month, as far as our tax rate and everything. But I'll reach out to Travis. I will say our deputies like working our neighborhood. Our residents are, they're very appreciative to them when they talk to them and see them and everything too.
Absolutely.
Love that. But I'll reach out to Travis.
But I'll just also note, in this comparison for the surrounding areas, different water districts and cities, we're by far the lowest tax rate per $100 valuation. So
Right.
We're not just doing a great job, we're doing it at less cost. And for some of these, we don't have our own water treatment facilities, stuff like that. So we don't have our wastewater treatment facilities. We don't have some of the things other districts have, but we really are doing a great job of managing our money and keeping our tax rates in line.
At the bottom of that bill comparison, I did a comparison of the tax rates as well.
Yeah.
So y'all can see that.
Now, and also, Director Smith, to go back to your question, as far as the numerical value between the 0.21 and the 0.20, there's a pretty good, on the very front page of the budget worksheet, if you look at the comparison between 23 and 24 under the O&M tax, you see that there's not really a whole lot of difference between looking at the proposed valuations of last year and this year. So
$13,000. That is correct.
so lowering the tax rate isn't going to be it's not going to be a drastic decrease in our revenue.
No, well, I was also thinking, from a homeowner's perspective, does it kind of become a wash with the increases for water and sewer? I mean, it's probably a little less than that, but
It is. They'll see some
It helps.
increase because
Yeah.
if you, on that bill comparison and on the calculator, we use 12,000 gallons a month as our average for water, and we use 5,000 a month for wastewater. Obviously, people use more and use less and whatever. So, but that's our average for the district. It looks like it's about a $4.39 increase in utilities. Okay, what their tax reduction or increase, it's just going to depend on the price of their home.
they're pretty,
Yeah.
no,
So they may get, a couple of dollars a month reduction in their taxes. So maybe the overall increase is only a little over $2.
but the point is my point is that it's going to cushion the increase, which we need to do to make sure we stay afloat with inflation, as you said, and potential price, water price rises.
That's right. That's
Okay.
right. It cost a lot. And, I always love the times that I get to really have, some good conversations with our residents because, people don't know wastewater. Why does it cost so much for my sewer bill? It just goes into a pipe. 40 years ago, that's exactly what I would have thought. I would have never even thought about what happens. But if you go to one of those wastewater treatment plants, you see what it takes to treat that sewer. And that's where that cost comes from. So, it's worth it. Well, my house, it is worth it.
Yeah.
I don't want it sitting under my house.
I don't either.
I have some, actually, willing, I have some questions about some of the line items in here.
Now's the time.
Yeah, no time to fire away.
That's kind of what I think.
So we can-
Yeah,
We can adjust.
now's
in
the time.
TV.
Go
Yeah,
for
I
it.
don't know if I don't know if it's going to require adjustment, and maybe just for my own edification, understand.
Absolutely.
And some of these I may have asked before, but it's been a year. So
Well, that's exactly
I
right.
think
And there's a lot of
forgiveness.
line items. So
Yeah.
go ahead.
Well, the first one was the meter replacement under administrative operational. What is it, 8,333? Is that an estimate, or is that a specific number of meters that we plan on replacing every month?
That is our estimate of what we would like to do in change outs this year.
Okay.
Looking at historical data, how much did we spend before? How many meters do we think we can get changed out this next year? And so that's a target.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just was curious.
No,
because
good
I know we
question.
talked about changing, we're eventually changing out the whole district and maybe putting in the wireless stuff. Are these
These are,
wireless?
that's right. We're, every meter we change now, we're going to electronic.
Okay.
So it's life cycle upgrade, it's proactive, correct?
Yes.
Some of it's life cycle upgrade, but so there's some failures. So we've got to, there's some must replace valves. and
100%.
There's a lot of want to replace to stay on top of the life cycle. Like
An aging meter, we're
Aging,
gonna
yeah, thank
replace
you.
it. That's right. They'll just stop working. We replace those. We don't have very many failures in the electronics. But no, that's what that
Still
is.
billing me, so they must not be failing.
Yeah, if you get a 0 read, Mark, I'm gonna know something happened to your meter.
Okay, just out of curiosity, how many meters does that represent a month? Just a
it's a
ballpark.
third of the district.
No, it's only 8,333, so it's, I mean, is it like 10, 20?
Mr. Operations, I'm gonna throw that to you.
Oh, he's got his
Look at, he's got the calculator
We're
on.
bringing out the calculator.
And you also have to think about the fact what we paid for an electronic meter 2 years ago. That's not what we're paying now.
Probably not.
Yeah, exactly. So 50 meters.
50?
Yes.
50 a month?
Mhm.
Okay, that's cool.
Summertime, almost impossible to do that.
Yeah.
Quite impossible with this
What,
heat.
to replace them?
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah.
Just because of the labor involved? Or do the
Staff
meters fail on
preservation.
us?
Yes.
Yeah, staff preservation. It's, if it's still working, it's gonna work a little bit longer till
A little
fall.
bit longer.
That's
Yeah.
cool. So really, some of these numbers will get
Some of them will be
moved
higher,
over,
some months will be
down.
lower. That's right.
Colder months will be higher and, okay.
Yeah.
My next question is, I think it's obvious, but the legal fees compared to 2023, I assume that they're going to be the same or less?
Yes. Let me hold on.
He's smiling.
Well, I'm smiling because I think we've been really successful in keeping the fees down.
Yes.
Since y'all hired me, and part of that has to do with the fact that litigation hasn't been moving, quite frankly, the way it should. So you're not incurring those expenses over the last few months, but I think you can expect that to ramp up again pretty
Okay.
quick. But as y'all know, I implemented lower rates whenever y'all hired me. And so I think that combined with some efficiencies that I've tried to build into my practice and the services I provide y'all is keeping your monthly general counsel rates down. As always, we have no control over Public Information Act expenses. People are going to submit those and it's going to cost y'all money and there's nothing we can do about that. So, but yeah, generally speaking, I mean, I think the number's probably higher than it needs to be, but don't let those be my famous last words either.
I mean, it's a budget, it's an estimate.
Yes. Yeah. So
Yeah, no, I was just
obviously you prefer to
curious.
overshoot than undershoot if, especially if things do.
Well, and
It's always nice to
2024 is
come
gonna be
in.
an election
Sure.
year too. So there's, legal fees are always higher in an election year
Yes,
because,
ma'am.
that's right.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's
And
why that
there's
number's there.
also- Well, I mean, also on top of that, I mean, if you looked on the P&L for, for this last fiscal year, our year-to-date budget for last year for For legal fees, our budget last year for legal fees was 130, and the proposed budget is 110. So even though those numbers are higher, they're actually $20,000 lower than our budget was last year.
That's right. If you look at your P and L in your packet, you'll see we're actually under budget.
Cool. All right. Well, like I said, I just, I mean, I've done enough budgets in my lifetime to understand that it's smoothed out and it's an estimate, but I was just
Yeah.
curious. And,
Yeah.
Because because we don't have last year's on here, right? Household hazardous waste program. How's that been going? I mean, have we been using this much
Oh,
money
yeah.
per month?
Our residents love it.
This is the vouchers?
Yeah. Okay. So that pretty much represents what we've been doing.
That's
for the
exactly
last
right.
year. I apologize for having to look over my glasses, but
That's okay. I do that all the time.
I turned in my bifocals to have them glass changed out, so I got to deal with these.
I thought that's how we all wore ours.
All right,
What else you got?
and I got just a couple more, if you're willing. Then street cleaning and sweeping. Is that something that we're planning on doing? Because I haven't seen a street sweeper come through Oakwood in a long time.
No, that is something that we would love to do. Okay. And I'm going to always keep that in the budget because obviously Oak Brook has just gotten some new asphalt. They're doing some street work. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Over
that's
Morgan
right.
Hill,
That's on Morgan
across.
Hill and O'Connor. I mean, they're not coming through. It's in the
No, the
intersection.
county is planning to do chip seal in our district again.
Okay, I know that was mentioned in a meeting or two ago, but.
Yes,
So,
yes,
so the
and do
residents
some
are all going
fog
to complain
seal.
about all this stuff on their cars.
that's right.
again.
And the county will do some cleaning, but better for us to budget. And
Okay, so
if the need arise, the money's there for us to clean up some of the
Cool.
debris.
okay, like I said,
Yeah.
I'm not knocking it, I'm just questioning.
No,
Right.
no, I got it.
Yeah, so I like that idea, especially if they're going to do that chip seal again, because I know.
Yeah, I haven't gotten them to do
HOA
new
and-
asphalt. Darn it, it just hasn't happened.
Well, they were redoing the O'Connor and up to Avery Ranch, right in front of Morgan Hill. I mean, they actually closed Morgan Hill for a while.
They did.
So all of a sudden I'm looking, yeah, I can't turn here. Oh, I got to go up the next street and around. Sheriff's security. Now, that's not the same as the cars, right? Or the
That's the entire, the patrol service. That is deputy fees and the vehicle expense.
no, I don't know because it looks like it's only 250.
You're down in the community center?
16.
Oh, that's on the community center.
Yeah. No,
I'm sorry.
look at general ledger account 16580.
65.
It's
Oh,
the
right at
first one,
top.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the patrol.
That
Okay.
is.
Yeah, I understood that. I just didn't connect the sheriff's security with the community center. Like I said, my glasses are at the shop.
Yeah, that's okay. We budget that in there, so just in case, let me be circumspect in my terminology. If we think that there might be an issue with an event, to protect the district, we would hire a deputy to be very closely involved
Okay. And that would,
In the
that would be a
district,
public event.
around
not-
the center.
Not a
Huh?
private event. It would be a public event.
That would, yes,
Like election or,
yes,
a roads meeting or something like that.
yes.
Potentially. Okay, understood. Like I said, some of these, now that we talk about it, I remember from last time. I think I had just a couple of questions actually on the capital projects.
Yep.
And the community center interior repair improvements, you had 55,000. I'm trying, I think I saw that you had the door replacements here somewhere, but that was.
That was last
this
year. That was last year. In 2024,
Okay.
once we get the doors and everything, we're kind of stepping into this, okay? You can look at the doors and you can see what's going on here at the center. So once we get this done, then we need to look at our windows because the flashing on those were not very good. So we're going to need to have the windows assessed and we're going to need to have them filmed
You're gonna get a movie crew in here or what?
Yeah.
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 Tinted.
Okay, I understand that. Actually, now that I think about it, I think I saw the doors on the.
Yeah, we put a down payment on it. That's right,
Yeah.
on the check register. That's exactly
I
right.
saw
We
that.
are waiting for them anytime. I can't wait to see what they're,
That was a down payment.
Mhm.
Okay. What was the total, do you remember?
90,
Let me see.
yeah,
That was the down payment? Or
no,
that's the
the
total?
down payment was 60, yeah.
something, yeah, okay.
Like braces.
All right,
They're being made. Our doors are sort of a unique size and a unique configuration, so they're having to be made.
okay.
Oh, and we're gonna be needing to put in new door sills and stuff at the bottom, yeah. If we ever get rain, and I just qualified, if we ever get rain,
Like a difference, sure.
Technology upgrade.
Yes.
I had a question, can't read my own writing.
well, we spoke about this in the budget committee.
Oh, details, yeah, okay. Yeah, see, I was.
So here's where we are. Our sound system is meant to be a sound system for parties, for, music, for that type of thing. We are not an audio video production house. And trying to do these meetings,
Mhm.
stream them, get them onto YouTube and everything, that's a very different animal. So what we've tried to do is, please forgive me, Jeremiah and Hector have worked incredibly hard to try and make this work with this sound system that we have. As y'all know, we've had problems with the sound, as it goes to streaming, it's cutting out. Then do it again and send it to YouTube and it's cutting out. Because it isn't just that we are, have a camera and whatever. We're having to do mics for the meetings. That all has to coordinate with the different speakers, with the cameras, to be meshed into a sound system. So if the board's desire is for us to continue online meetings, streaming meetings, that type of thing, we're going to have to change our animal. Because we've pretty much Mickey Moused it together as much as we can. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I love Mickey. I absolutely adore Mickey. Okay. But the point is that, let's just say we're going to have an event here on Saturday and they've got 2 rooms and they want the TV in there and they want the sound system, but they want the front TV running different. These guys have to spend their operations time.
Mhm.
These are operators, but they become our tech guys. God bless you. Getting everything changed around. And part of that is going to happen every week, depending on the event that we have. But you start throwing in, trying to stream video and all of that, the amount of time these guys are having to spend to try and put these pieces together is enormous. They really do have an important job for our district. And this is just one more important job that we've thrown on their plate.
So we're gonna get a productivity increase if we spend this money.
No, we're just probably going to get caught up. How's that?
Yeah, because these guys aren't gonna be Mickey Mousing it anymore, they'll know.
That wasn't a nice thing to say. I'm sorry, Jeremiah. I didn't mean it like that. I just meant, you run around and you try to, okay, maybe we can do this and we'll make this work. Well, it was never intended to be an audio video system. I mean, that's
No, I
just not what we have.
From what you just said. I think
Hopefully,
this
we're not
makes a
going
lot
to
of
spend
sense.
anywhere close to that.
No,
I can
it's
tell
a
you that.
budget, right.
We're tight money spenders around here. But if that's what the board wants to do, and I'm all for it, we need to make it as streamlined and as easy as possible because we can't spend, 2 days a week running around trying to get, things set up for an event that next weekend
I'd rather
or
you
for
guys
this
keep-
meeting.
I'd rather you guys keep our water running.
There you go.
So I assume then, this is in the budget and you guys are gonna come out with some bids for the board to look at it.
Oh, for sure. This won't
And
just,
you're planning on doing it this coming year, so.
Yes.
Okay. My next question is pretty easy. You know, we'll give you 5 points. No. You got covered parking here. Is this for the water tower here?
This is out here.
How many spots were we looking at?
We are looking at
How many parking spots?
8
8
spots.
spots. Okay, cool. Mostly for the employees.
All of
so
our
they don't pay.
vehicles,
With all
I
the
mean,
trees
we're
are gone.
literally having to go to the car wash. And this is gonna go on for years.
Are you gonna have up against the?
It's gonna
fence
be
here?
right here at the back
Are
curb
you
right
gonna
there.
Have a back wall so that.
We
Just
weren't,
that
but I'm gonna bid it with the back wall because when those trucks are
Yeah.
hauling around it out there, it's just brutal.
you can tell.
And honestly, when we get these freak hailstorms during the day, there's nowhere for our staff to go to quickly protect their vehicles. So at a minimum, we need to give them some protection for their vehicles while Saul's Ranch is, or yeah, Saul's East, whatever they call it, is being built. But for long term, they need it.
Okay, no, that's good. I just was, again, curious. As to-
Yeah, do you want more spots? Just say the word,
Well,
Mark.
can I have one reserved for me?
Okay, 9.
Hey, you know, you can
Okay,
ask.
so-
You don't ask, you can't get.
So
Yeah.
just to clarify, so the covered parking would not be for district vehicles. It would be for personal vehicle use.
Yes. For our staff.
So staff parking only, signs.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
So I can use it after.
Our
hours.
district right now, our district vehicles, well, I say staff, I mean, you drive a district vehicle. There will be enough to put, like if our, one of our maintenance guys are here, he can put his truck in there if it starts hailing. You know what I'm saying? Our district vehicles right now will fit in our water tower. If we know a storm is coming, we can protect our backhoe, our pickups, whatever at the water tower. There's no extra room there. It gives us a little bit of flexibility too, because Hector's here most of the time. We start getting a bad hailstorm and he can put his truck in there. We could cut down the number of spaces, but at a
Okay,
time you do 5 spaces, it's not that much more to go ahead and do 8.
Yeah, no, bid it out for
Yeah.
a bigger number.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to say this and it's not going to be a popular opinion, but I mean, and I know we're just putting it in the budget right now, but I mean, I work 2.5 miles away, and if I get a freak hailstorm in the middle of the day, I don't have covered parking. And I mean, that's kind of, I mean, I hate to say it like this, but I mean, that's kind of why we cover insurance on our cars. I mean, I don't want to, I mean, there have been times that I've walked out and my window has been busted. I've had friends that have had their windows busted, and like I said, I mean, we can bid it out. You can vote on it later whenever the time comes or whatever, but and we're just putting it in the budget right now. So
True.
it's just going in the
No
budget.
commitment,
So I don't know. I don't know.
I
just
hear what you're saying.
felt like I had to say something.
I know, I hear what you're saying, but it also, look at it from an employee standpoint with this going on over here. You know what I'm saying? This isn't even Mother Nature. This is just construction, if you will. And there's kind of nowhere to get away from it. And I don't disagree with you. And it's something the boards can do. We can put it in the budget. We'll get the bids. You guys can decide if you want it or if you don't. Pretty simple.
okay, my last question, I promise.
Yeah.
You don't have anything shown here for maintenance on the backhoe and the trailers and stuff. Is that because we're good for the next year?
Well, we've got it in the budget, under vehicle and all of that. We're good. I mean, that's where our repairs go. Now,
I just thought it was
go
funny.
to maintenance.
Park equipment maintenance.
No, this is under operations equipment. This is the very last thing on the very last, well, I guess it's not the very last page, but second to last page.
Do we want to talk about the Kubota right now or we want to wait? I think I'm going to go ahead and bring it up right now. Our Kubota has been great. Okay. It has enabled us to do a lot of our own repairs, a lot of our own greenbelt and park situations, but the Kubota is limited. All right. And when I say limited, I mean because when it breaks down, there are limited places that can work on it. I think the dearth of workers needed in this country are mechanics. I mean, if y'all know anybody that could work on big equipment, they could make a ton of money in our area if they would just move here. They just don't have them. And Kubota is kind of like, certain cars. You've got to have a certain type of mechanic that's trained on Kubotas. Well, this last big water leak we had, of course, our Kubota breaks down. Okay. I won't bore you with all of the details, but that's why Hector's hair is really short, as is Jeremiah's. It's really short. They literally, our guys are having to recommend to Kubota what they need to look at. And why don't you look here? And does it have 2 of these instead of 1 of these? So it's very frustrating. All right. I would like for the board to consider a bigger backhoe. For the small jobs that we do, the Kubota is the perfect size. It just is. But when we have a leak the size of Niagara Falls and we've got to dig into asphalt, larger, what's the word I want? More versatile and normal, like case or something. Okay.
Larger capacity.
Larger capacity,
brand.
and where it wouldn't be so hard to get parts for. So I am going to recommend that the board let us go price it. Let's go see what we can do, and we'll come back to the board and let's consider buying a bigger backhoe.
And that's what's in the budget now.
No, I don't think that we put it in the budget, but we can always move money around in these maintenance projects and such.
Yeah.
We never really thought, and y'all can ask Hector about this. We never really thought that there would be jobs that would be too much for the Kubota. Okay. But frankly, there is. I mean, the rock that we're on, yeah, I just wanted to wring a couple of Kubota guys' necks. I just want to tell you.
So are you planning
Two
on,
different towns.
so you're going to plan on
In 2 different towns.
keeping the Kubota and getting something else? Or?
That's correct. That's correct. I mean, we're a
You got-
water utility. We need equipment. That's just the truth of it. Okay. But let me just put it this way. Our last water leak was bigger than what we could manage with our equipment and our staff. We had to third party it out. And while we're waiting for a third party to get us on their schedule, that water's just running out, into the greenbelt, whatever. So yes, it's a big expense. We've also found that just having the Kubota so far has saved us a ton of money and not having to third party out our repairs. So
Would we keep the Komodo? Would we trade it in?
I think we can look at all the avenues. We could possibly sell it. We
Sell
may
it
decide the chipper
first
and that.
party? Yeah.
It's absolutely great. The maneuverability of it is great,
Yeah.
especially in our green belts. So that'd just be up to the board. Do we want to keep both if we get a bigger one or whatever? But I'd like for our operations guys to go start looking, because it's probably going to take forever to buy one.
Hmm.
Huh?
And if I may add, if we could also entertain the idea of doing like a mini excavator
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to another duplicate backhoe or something like that. Mini excavator would dig a little deeper, is more versatile. So, if you
We're gonna
allow us
look at both.
Look at the options.
Right.
We're going to look at the
Because there
both.
might be a price differential that's attractive to us, is what you're saying.
That's right.
How old is the Kubota?
5-6 years.
I think that was one of the first things.
Almost full depreciated.
I mean, Kubota's done really well. I mean,
I agree.
We've maintained it. We've done everything. It's just
Under capacity for certain jobs.
it's JV work kind of thing. So I hated to say that. Sorry, but yeah, it's for its intended purposes, small leagues, parks work, MS4 stuff.
Does great.
It's been
Yeah,
really,
it has.
It's been really
It's
good.
really
to
been
us.
good.
But it's about time to kind of graduate into full varsity. So.
And it would be great. I mean, if a mini excavator can do what we need for these larger jobs, it would be much cheaper than a larger backhoe. We just need to look into the specifications on both and see which one. And we'll come back and talk to y'all. You know, it's y'all's decision. It's not ours. We just know when we hit that limitation, you know, we've got residents, their yards are partially torn up and they're having to wait, and then the street, and then the amount of water that we're losing is always a concern. Mark, anything else?
No, I yield the floor to whoever else has questions.
Just want to point out the budget has a lot of money set aside for all 5 park renovations. So that's the kind of thing where, you know, we can pull the trigger on it and do it. But some of them are overdue. I think that includes, does that include tennis also, tennis courts?
I think I did.
I think that's in there also. So we've got to decide on that
I'm not
also.
sure if tennis courts is in there.
No, we did not put it in here. Oh, that's right. We talked about if we're going to do the tennis courts, we'll take one of the parks off.
Okay. Right, okay.
Right. And exactly.
So that can be a reserve, those 5 park renovations. If something else pops up where we need to spend money on a capital item, we can do that and delay one of the parks
Mm-hmm.
an additional year. And then we usually do that. We have a lot of money set aside for the parks, and we decide whether to do it or not, or what to do with it. They always get like fresh mulch and stuff like that, but
That's right. And we've been putting money aside in our parks accounts to do these renovations.
I was
So y'all
fixing
can
to
see
say,
that.
so at the beginning of last fiscal year, one of the things is we started looking at the park reno, and we were going to pull it out of our park fund, our park reservation fund. And so that money is still sitting there.
Yep.
So any kind of renovation, and I'm assuming the tennis courts being part of the parks essentially. I mean, I think that all of that money is just going to come out of that park reserves. And also at the same time, all of the capital outlay projects that we've been discussing, those are going to come out of our capital outlay reserves too. So that's one of the reasons why we're able to lower the tax rate, keep the spending the same, and still kind of keep, add some new equipment if we find what we want and what we need and stuff like that. So I mean, we're not spending any new money that's not already there.
That's right. It's,
I mean,
in a sense, we've had a savings account that we've been
Right.
building up knowing. That's correct.
that's a very good point, Director Barnes.
Yeah, that's good.
And on this last page, I mean, are these in, and going back to your comment, are these in a priority order where we would pick out,
They're not a priority.
No, that's just our
so we would
standard.
just prioritize based on the age and the need if we decided to.
Or it could be
To utilize
availability,
this
right?
money.
Like you can't get playground equipment. You can't do the park reno when you want because you can't get the playground equipment.
Right.
So there's a bunch of factors.
And
that
also,
That's right.
a lot of the things that we're wanting to do, we're not going to be able to do until late September, October, November, until the weather actually cools down. And because, I mean, they're not going to go back, they're not going to come in and replace the tennis courts whenever it's 110 degrees outside. So,
Well, it wouldn't be smart to try and do that, number one, but
Right.
also think about park equipment. The equipment that we are going to be looking at, I mean, you're looking at a 6 to 8 month process. By the time you design, by the time, the engineering, you're looking at 6 to 8 months out. This is just our goals.
Got it.
I like that goals better than target.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Or a goal.
A goal. There you go.
Stick me with a fork, I'm done.
All right. Thank you, Director Smith. Anyone else? right, so that's our draft budget.
Use the word I've never used.
For agenda item number 8, I've got proposed tax rate, call public hearing, publication of notice. Do we need to do that this time?
Yes, Mr. President, just as a reminder, we're required to publish notice in a newspaper of general circulation within the county, putting people on notice that we will be having a public notice regarding the proposed tax rate for 2023. In years past, we've published in the Round Rock Leader, and they're usually much more affordable than the Statesmans of the world to publish notice. So all we need on this, Mr. President, is a motion to propose a tax rate for 2023 of 20 cents per $100 of taxable value, call a public hearing during your next regular board meeting, which is going to be September 12th at 6 p.m., and to authorize your attorney to get the public notice published.
Okay, very good.
I make that motion.
Motion by Director Barnes,
I'll second it.
second by Director Smith to set the proposed tax rate at 0.20 per $100 valuation. Call a public hearing at the next regular meeting, September 12th at 6 p.m.
Quick question for discussion. I'm sorry, this is probably just me being new. Twice I heard 2020 for 2023, FY23. Do taxes go backwards?
Right,
Okay.
right. But when you're talking about the proposed tax rate, you set it for the actual year, but you're right, you're paying in arrears.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. My business works the other way around, so I just thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Okay, any other comment? No, we have the motion and have it seconded. Motion's on the table. All in favor? All right, motion carries. Once again, we've found a way to save taxpayers some money
Lower
and
taxes.
provide cost-effective services. So, and that's, I guess we haven't voted on it. We'll vote it next time, but that's the proposal. So I think it's a good one. Very good.
Oh, wait a minute. Who made the motion?
That was
Director
Director
Barnes? Director Smith second.
Okay.
All right, I have for agenda item number 9, amendment to the solid waste services agreement. Ms. General Manager, can you explain that one to us?
Sure. Hold on. Let me get one.
Yeah, when you're ready.
In your packet, it is an amendment. It's time to renew our contract. Central Texas Refuse is just fine with the current contract. We have the
It's just a
established increases. And so the amendment to extend the contract is in y'all's packet.
Okay.
renewal. Look reasonable to me.
All right, and with that, we get some of the bulk cleanup days that we've gotten. What do we get, 2 a year? We get 1 or 2?
Yeah, we get one per year and then we pay for one per year.
Oh, they throw one in.
That's right.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's great.
It is great.
Where is that reflected in the budget? That
What?
one, or is it just incorporated in the cost of garbage?
Garbage fees, well, that's collection,
Yeah.
that's
It's
revenue.
it's incorporating the garbage fees, the extra.
That's exactly right. I
Garbage
put that in
expense.
there. That's right.
Garbage expense.
They pretty much charge us based on how many hours they're here on a Saturday and how much weight it is. It's $2,000 to $4,000 depending on, sometimes our bulk pickup will have a lot.
Mhm.
And sometimes there's just not that much.
I gotta throw out more this year, get our money's worth.
Well, that's
I had no
exactly right.
idea I was
Hey,
wasting so
that's
much money
right.
and Not throwing my stuff away.
I think everyone threw out a lot. It come around February and March.
Yeah,
So
No,
I
oh
think
my
we all got our
gosh.
dollars worth.
And I just want to say something about
Please,
that.
please do.
Okay. Central Texas Refuse is a solid waste company. They are not a landscape company. Okay? They are not. They don't, that's never been part of it. They have always been willing to pick up yard debris, okay? That people put beside their carts, that type of thing. But Central Texas Refuse was beat up so bad by just the level of frustration. Everybody didn't know what do I do with all these limbs? What do I do?
That includes with me and with probably some of us. I mean, it was-
I mean, you pay $20 a month for your trash to be picked up. How can there be an expectation when there is a freak nature thing that $20 a month is going to clean
Cover a
up,
regional event.
$1,000 worth of tree damage? So they did not, and they worked hard. Once they got it going, they were picking up bundle after bundle after bundle that people would put out. They did not ask for an increase after doing that. I just want you to know that. They're perfectly fine with our contract, with our stated increases yearly. And I just like to give them a pretty big kudo for it. They worked hard.
Fair enough.
And the other part of it, they wanted to help us. They just didn't have the equipment or the people to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Or the ability to dispose of it, that's out of their control a little bit.
That's exactly right. And we're not their only customer. We sometimes think maybe we are and that we're special, but we're not that special. We're just one of their customers. And they have the Round Rock contract. So everybody was hit hard. Everybody was harmed by that ice storm. And I'm not belittling that at all. I'm just saying that CTR really wanted to help, and they shifted into gear, and it was months that their trucks were here very, very late in the day trying to get all of our pickup done on a Monday evening. And there were some nights to where the guys worked so late they couldn't get the truck to the landfill. And they may have missed a few streets because they were so full, but they always came back, always made it right. They did a good job.
They really did. In a regional event, they handled themselves well. They didn't fall apart.
Nope.
And while we were all frustrated with trying to get things cleared out, they just stayed on top of it, just kept plugging away. And we even tried to look at other sources, and no one could do any better. So I really think we lucked out having them as our contractor.
I do too, in many hands. And then I'll say the same thing about our tree guys. Once we actually found Liberty Tree Service, they have done a bang up job for us. And we're coming up with a plan that we do routine greenbelt maintenance for everything. We have trees dying now because of the drought. Okay. We're going to hit fall. It's expected that we're going to have at least 2 snow events this winter. So we're going to have a lot of cleanup come next spring. Let's budget for it. Let's get it done. And we know the contractor to go to. They have been incredible, just incredible.
That's really goes back to you planning stuff, planning for the future. That even goes down to our operations department where we plan for, we know things are going to break, so let's be ready for when it does. So, and we're just doing the right thing there. We've got money saved for a rainy day, and we're as prepared as we can be for a lot of these things. There's some things you can't foresee, but I appreciate all the efforts that you and your staff have done
Thank you. They've done a really good job.
to have us.
I like you
ready
guys
for-
a lot. No, thank you, George. We appreciate that. And yeah, well, I'll just say this right here. Your staff is only as good as your board. You know what I'm saying? You guys give us the flexibility and the backup when there is a problem. I know a lot about a lot of mud boards, and I think what we have has been just exemplary, and we appreciate it. And I think our district shows it. You know what I'm saying? We're in very good shape, and we've had really good members on our board.
And we've got a good community. I'll never stop praising
100%.
for the response to that weather event. I mean, everyone took
100%.
care of all the damage on their properties. It's really
And there were a lot of neighbors helping neighbors out there. I'll tell you that.
So, all right. So back to the matter at hand. Do we have a motion to approve the amendment to the solid waste services agreement?
I'll make that motion.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the amendment to the second.
All right. Motion by Director Horton,
Second.
second by Director Smith. Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Amendment approved. Okay, item number 10,
I have no road updates.
no road updates. So we don't have any we don't have landscaper report this one?
No, I told them that I didn't know really what kind of a report they could give, except it's hot.
It's hot.
Yeah.
They're
Stuff's
doing
dry.
the best they can with these water restrictions and things are just burning up.
Okay.
So I said, guys, I can give that report for you.
Very good. All right, item number 12, general manager's report and operations report.
My report is on page 31. I gave Director Horton an emergency contact list that I wish each one of you board members and our lawyer, please put an emergency contact on that list for you. Wife, spouse, child, whoever you think will answer the phone. Our part-time event person, Tony Ewing, who has been with this district since 2003 and this building opened. Okay, we love Tony. He had a medical emergency out here, had to be taken away in an ambulance, and we need contact information. If one of you guys have a medical emergency and an ambulance needs to come and get you, I want to be able to get in touch with a family member for you guys. Anyway, that's what that list is for. If you wouldn't mind sharing that, we won't pass it around. Really, that's all of my report. We just went through it all. The security patrol, CTR amendment, and the budget information. And we did include some extra money for Greenbelt cleanup. I just want to make y'all comfortable with that if we were to have an event this next year. There's some money budgeted for it. We've always budgeted some for emergencies, but we put a little more in there for the Greenbelts. That's all I have.
Mr. Operator, you have anything to add?
Just a few updates. We completed a system-wide leak detection survey. Had a few leaks identified. We repaired them.
So one of those the Kettleman leak,
Yes. Well, Kettleman, that was a house.
the tree?
That was
Oh,
a
you're
tree,
talking,
That was a homeowner.
oh, you're talking about district.
District
not-
leak.
Not
District-wide,
homeowners.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Beg your pardon.
So we've done leak repairs on that. Drought is affecting the district. I don't know how else to put it. We've had 2 occasions where irrigation has been so demanding on the system that our pumps at the pump station in Oak Brook have gone to low level cutoff. And you can see it on the charts where it goes low level cutoff, pumps just stop. That's self-preservation of the system. So you'll see this little jagged piece of operation on the graphs where pump stop, tank fills up a little bit, pumps start up, they cut off. Pretty tense moments. Just fearing that we're going to run out of water. Fortunately, 10 years ago, maybe 9, 10 years ago, we implemented a fix on Slate Creek. And I keep going back to that check valve because it has paid back dividends just amazingly. So what happens when the pump station goes down, that check valve opens up and it provides water to those 274 homes that are served by the pump station. So that allows us not to run out of water and not to dump our hydrodynamic tank, which has tons of air in it, to blow into the system. And then we get all sorts of phone calls saying that they have air in their lines. So crisis averted twice. We have been taking some water from Brushy Creek Mud, who's been gracious enough to allow us to fill our tank during the day, and then we just kind of ride it out. 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm getting alarms every single day where our water tower goes down below its low level alarm. And a couple of occasions we've been down at the 9-foot, 10-foot in a 40-foot bowl. So very critical. The only reason I mentioned that in public is that the lower that tank gets, the less fire protection we have for our system. So if there were a huge fire at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, and that tank is down at 10 foot, I mean, we could run into a potential of, fire department sucking us dry. So it's pretty critical. So when, we've put out some messaging, conserve water. Round Rock had their issue with a 3 million gallon a day leak that they've repaired, but they still have issues with the valving. They installed 2 valves to isolate the leak, repaired the leak. Come time to open it up, one of them opened up, the other one didn't. So now they're having to circle back, insert another valve just so they can do a bypass around the valve that didn't work. So, yeah, they're still dealing with that issue.
Yeah.
It's not over yet. So
I'll get a refund.
4:00 this morning, I expect another check and water tower low.
So one of the things that would help is if people would stick to the 2 watering days, their 2 watering days. That would help tremendously, right?
Yes, absolutely.
That's the reason the tank is so low. It's not just everyone's turning their sprinklers on at 2 to 4 a.m., but also, people are
Yes.
using it
100%.
more than they would have when we're getting regular rainfall.
Right.
So, okay.
Every day. I mean, just if they would stick to the days, I mean, we can basically, keep up.
Level it
some-
out, yeah.
Yeah, just level it out. Just try to spread the damage.
Are we doing any kind of compliance?
I'm sorry.
Are we, notifying those folks who are not following the rules that we know that they're not following the rules?
That would
We
require.
can't monitor that in real time, though.
Yeah, I
Daily.
Well, you can on some, I
Well-
think at the wireless.
Not if we don't do patrols or anything to that effect. I mean, I'd hate to get to that point.
Yeah, right.
I mean, like I said, right now, I just, we try to make that decision is like, well, do we keep feeding the crack addicts some crack, or do we just, try to, scale it back? It's like, yeah, we're going to be experiencing some lower pressures, but I mean, that may just be a reminder to our residents that it's a thing. It's a serious thing that we're going through right now.
So a couple of quick questions. So one of them, excuse me. So are there any houses that keep coming up on like the high use houses that maybe we can go and like have a just straight up conversation with those people?
Oh, our people are doing that all the time.
56
Are they?
homes, I think.
Are we?
Yeah, I think we've identified 56 homes on a list of high, consistent high users. I mean,
Right.
summertime or not, they're just, I mean, it's ish, 56-ish, somewhere around there. But
This is going to be our first meter read, that the entire period was under 2-day-a-week water restrictions. So, yeah, we'll get some pretty good information.
that's all I have. Please conserve water.
Yes.
I mean, maybe, once again, probably not a real popular opinion, but maybe we do think about adding another tier for drought conditions, for water bills. Zach, is that even something that we can even think about?
You can think about it.
I mean, water tiers are based on usage.
Right.
That's not a tier, that's a clause maybe
Yeah.
in the event that there's a drought, but
Did you say some of the other jurisdictions have seasonal rates?
Yes.
Okay.
The
So
only
we
one
could
I
do
know
something
right now is
seasonal.
Brushy Creek Mud. Yes.
So we could do something seasonal, but not necessarily based on a low water situation. It
No.
would be easier to do seasonal.
yeah.
Because I mean, I know there's a lot of days that, that I walk my dog every morning and be walking down the street. Of course, she loves it because she gets to walk through the water and drink the water and stuff like that. But I mean, there are some houses that it's just flowing right down the street. And
Priest River.
Well, here's the
should claim
thing,
the
we're
fault.
kind of all in this
Like
together. I
Walker.
mean, I hate that phrase. We're all in this together. But quite honestly, let us know if you see that and you can identify the address. They may have an irrigation leak that they don't even know about.
Yeah.
And we will be more than happy. We do reach out to people like that. And so if y'all see something like that, I mean, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good idea, because even if a homeowner sees it, they're more likely to think, oh, that's my neighbor must have a leak.
That is
More likely to
that's
think
exactly
that
right.
than-
So we just go have a conversation. We don't take a a bat or anything with us. We
Plus-
just go have a conversation.
next time I
6 o'clock this morning, your water was running off your curb really bad.
Next time I see it, I'll give one of you guys a call at 6 o'clock in the morning.
That's okay. I'm up. Are
You
you
can
up?
just text,
Apparently Hector's up 10:18 in the morning.
4 o'clock.
I was going to
5
say,
o'clock.
Hector's up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning anyway, so.
But
Whenever
it
my
is,
phone rings.
Turn your
Yeah.
phone off tonight.
but it is
No.
easy not to notice that you've got a broken head.
It is very easy.
And you
That's
just got
right.
a jet going up, if it goes off at 3 in the morning, right?
You kind of don't know.
You kind of, I usually test my system once every couple of weeks just to make sure all the heads are, I just run it for a minute just to make sure the heads are.
Well, consistently every month when we do our meter reads, there's a calculation in there, and it gives me high reads. And so I go back in, I look at people, if their history shows, they don't normally use 70,000 gallons of water, I call them or email them and just say, you came up on our quality control, and they're so appreciative because normally they've got a water line leak that they didn't know about, or they've got a busted irrigation line somewhere that they didn't know about, So we do that. We always reach out to our customers when we can tell there could be a problem. And we'll reach out to a few more of them this month just because we are in, water restrictions right now.
A lot of people aren't home when their irrigation is running also, so they may not be aware, so.
That
yeah.
are sound asleep.
Yep.
If we could get them to spread it out from 7, spread it out a little more at night, but it's like, 3 o'clock? It starts at 3 o'clock and it goes until 8 o'clock in the morning.
Almost on the dot. 3 o'clock.
They do it middle of the night.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They won't stop until 8.
Okay.
All right. Thank you both. Budget Committee, Director Barnes, we don't have anything else to add after the budget. Draft
No, I don't
budget.
think so.
Okay. Parks and Rec Committee, do we have anything?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
District Community Center Committee, we're gonna get new doors. It could happen any day now, right?
Could happen any day. We're
Yeah.
just ready.
Okay. I'm gonna skip to 17 right quick. Security Committee, do we have anything
No, other than the cost increase,
on the vehicles?
which will start, October 1.
Okay. Um,
Now,
uh,
with the cost increase, I think I already asked this, but is that going to be an addendum to our current contract? Are we going to, you said you're going to talk to them and start negotiating?
I will get a hold of
for a
our
new
liaison,
contract,
yes,
or-
but there is a sheriff's contract that we're gonna need to send to the county. Let me see if they've got a deadline on here. Hold on. We gotta start paying it October 1. And they need it back before September 20th. So we don't have to do anything about this right now. We can do it at our September meeting. That'll give me a month to try to talk with them and see what kind of a rate increase they're looking at. But the vehicle increase, there's nothing we can do about that. We want our deputies. This is what the county is going to charge us per vehicle hour, period.
Communications Committee, anything to report? The newsletter went out, right?
Newsletter went out for August, and I'm thinking we should probably put one out in October, November timeframe. That will include, obviously, the tax rate and budget information as appropriate. Any restrictions update?
And reminders of the water averaging.
Oh, yeah.
Water
So
averaging
good
starts in
start
November.
Yep, good
Or
point.
Yeah.
November, December.
As well as any legislative update that might be available to us. Road resurfacing update, if any, maybe schedules, or if it's done, we can say it's done.
Well, yeah.
Just don't know when it's gonna be.
Mhm.
But we've got
They had
time. I
already
mean, this is
door
just-
tagged a lot of the area and then they never started.
Yeah. I think I
And
saw
trying to do chip seal in 106-degree weather is foolish. They tried that one time before and that stuff didn't stick.
Doesn't break.
Well, again, this is just a, you know, a straw man agenda.
Gotcha.
Or content, so.
A Mickey
No
Mouse,
research.
that's what you're
Yeah,
saying.
Mickey Mouse. And then winter averaging, that's a good one. And I had another one, I just can't think of what it was, so I'll add that. When it comes time, I'll send you this list out, we can, you know,
I think it's more Casper than Mickey Mouse. It
Casper.
doesn't have flesh and
You
bones
go
on it
with
yet.
Casper.
It doesn't have flesh and
Soften
bones
it
on
up.
it yet.
you see right through it, you can see right through it, I get it.
Too late.
Anyway,
Feelings
so-
are
Well,
hurt.
yeah, no, you know how Mickey is. He's always trying to make it work. He's just trying to do his thing. Maybe y'all don't know Mickey the way I know Mickey.
Anyway, so,
I think it's more Jimmy
that's
Cricket.
what I have in mind for communications.
Good, you've got a whole smorgasbord of stuff there that you can dip into. So that's-
And
Yeah.
again, you know, if it doesn't make sense, we'll just delete it, and if I miss something, or, you know, when I remember what it is, I can't remember, I'll add it on there.
Very good.
I hope that it'll be that. Haven't we all been enjoying this lovely rain?
Yeah, really.
Use that word again.
I know. The more I talk about it, the more I'm putting it out there that we
Now
need
you
it
make me
bad.
thirsty.
All right, so next we're gonna combine agenda item 16, deed restriction committee, and agenda item 19, attorney's report. And at this time, we're gonna go into closed session. Board of Directors is authorized by the Texas Open Meetings Act to convene in closed or executive session for certain purposes. These purposes include receiving legal advice from its attorney, section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. So at this time, we're going to get some legal advice from our attorney in closed session. The time is 7:26.
So if you'll allow me a minute, we'll mute the
Absolutely.
mics.
Yeah, you just tell us when we're ready.
You got a master switch for these, or do we have to turn them off?
Oh, we'll turn them off.
That's what I thought.
Some of the sound system upgrades have started.
I'm not against them, trust me.
You know, it's kind of
That'd
like
be nice.
remodeling a house. It's actually easier to build a house than to remodel a house, right?
Sometimes it is, yeah.
And that's what we have in here, but it's tech stuff.
Well, I'm looking forward to those Mondays when you have the A&M moms here, and they have a speaker or something,